mismatches. But we'll have to see. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited to see just how well Team Ambition or Virtual Gaming Ambition is just going to be able to play. My biggest thing when I do a lot of solo casting. I watch solo queue matches a lot and just try to like pick and nitpick at some of the things that I see. And what I think that Diamond players, Master players can get overconfident. Like they don't know when to reel back and try to, make sure that the play that they're trying to go for, well, technically it does sound like a good idea, might not be a good idea because you don't have vision in this one specific spot where somebody could be hiding. You can get outflanked super easily and then it results in a double kill for your opponent. If you're a challenger or a master player, you predict that more. And you take that step back and say, hey, this is not a risk that I'm willing to take. And I'm willing to maybe bide my time and go for a better play down the line. But with that being said, it is now ready to begin. We get the draft started. Virtue Gaming Ambitions versus Glue Eaters. Looks like we are ready to come through. Does look like there was an issue with the first draft, but regardless, we are now ready to begin the game.
Yeah, we're going to be getting that Champ Select underway any moment now. I do think it's going to be pretty exciting. What you were just saying about, making plays around the information that you have, but also the information that you don't have, right? That's one of the things that I think does separate good players from great players is the ability to recognize when you don't have information and when that should be impacting your own decision-making in the plays that you go for. And that's also, just a little side note back to something that we were talking about earlier as well. That's something that River was also doing extremely well in the LCS this week, was playing around what the information that the enemy had. They talked about that a fair amount on the broadcast, of course, so I don't want to harp on that too much. But, it's something that's definitely worth mentioning.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, you bring up a good point there. And with that being said, we are now ready to begin the draft. Virtue Gaming Ambition, blue side game 1 versus the Glue Eaters. Ambition targeting the mid lane a lot. You got the LeBlanc, the Victor Van, the Aurelia coming out as well. So really trying to make sure that the Grandmaster player that you were talking about, or the Master player, Zepre, is targeted a little bit. I don't know if that is protection or potentially the right call, considering that if you are a Grandmaster player, I think you're expected to have a couple of different champions available to them, and you're just kind of playing into the hand. You just build around the early mid lane pick that Glue Eaters will inevitably, I think, try to go for. One other thing to note before I hand it back over to you, Crewman, is that Zeri is banned in Runeterra Academy Senior Class for week 1.
That's right. So the Zeri is not going to be an option for any of these guys. We're not going to see 100% pentakill rate for Zeri in Runeterra Academy just yet. Gonna have to wait another week on that one. It is going to be the AD carry locked away for the first pick, though. Ambition going with the Jinx. Very strong marksman in the meta right now, has been ever since preseason with those lethal tempo changes. Very much more comfortable, I should say, in lane than she was before. And of course, the scaling is still incredible. Looks like it's going to be the Jhin in response for the Glue Eaters. So just going to match up that AD carry pick. And I wonder if support will be locked in here as well.
No? Probably R3 would be good. I mean, Karma is hovered. They did hover the Hecarim for a second. I got a little excited there seeing the words come through. But no, it is going to be the Karma. So you've really established yourself as a really high damage, really bullying bot lane here. If Karma's able to find the root, Mantra root as well, to get the extra healing, the sustain, and the damage that they're able to layer on with the CC is going to be really difficult for whatever Virtue Gaming Academy decides to go for. A Thresh pick might be in need here to be able to keep the Jinx safe in the early game, would also give them some opportunities to defend against themselves. But Loki Dosi has put in work. Like Loki Dosi, I think, was able to get some really good kills last week when they were playing in a couple of matches I was casting for them as well. So I'm excited to see what she's able to bring it to, or what Loki Dosi is able to bring to the table, what support they want to go for. Tarek is hovered. That would be super cool to see, but the Nautilus is on there, and it is going to be the Nautilus. So another really strong, just Dragon Hook, frontline, meat shield for this Jinx to survive in.
Yeah, there were a lot of good support options there. I think you mentioned the Thresh, the Yuumi was also available, but going to be the Nautilus paired alongside the Jinx here. So it's a pretty strong dive already, paired up with the J4. And it is going to be that Hecarim that the Glue Eaters were considering a little bit earlier on. They are going to go ahead and lock that in to finish up their first round of picks. Now moving into the bans. Back to the mid pool. Going to continue to target Zep right here as Akali does get removed. And see what the side of Ambition wants to target on their own right. We are looking at solo lane bans for both sides, actually.
Yeah, and so the Akali as well is going to be a flex ban. It bans top lane, can ban mid lane, trying to just be able to take away some of the options that both players in the top side could try to go for. But more mid lane bans. You know, the Gragas, I think, is a solid choice to ban out in the top lane. Glue Eaters does have the R4 pick, so they can pick their top lane now and then wait to see the counter for the mid lane, so that Zephyr does get the most value out of the mid lane pick. But with the Kale being hovered, if Gwen isn't banned here, like Gwen is still online, and if Gwen is alive, like Gwen is just such a high priority pick. And it could be something that they're trying to go for. But instead, Virtua Gaming Academy bans out the Leona. They're worried that this could potentially be that strategy that we've been seeing, like we saw in the LCS, where it is this roaming smite karma that is coming through. So they're respecting that. They ban out the Leona. And potentially that was a bait from the Glue Eaters.
Yeah, I will say, we have seen a decent amount of solo lane karma in the past, Moose, even without the smite. Pre that adaptation, karma was already somewhat present in solo lanes. And one other note here, karma actually is the most played champion for Zephyr, according to op.gg. 28 games, 71% win rate on the karma. So that is likely actually going into the mid lane, which I think does make the Leona ban there make quite a bit of sense for Ambition. Hey, and there's the Gwen.
That's a pretty like astute observation there. Like if Zephyr does have such a powerful play with the karma, you ban it out, but it's now a flex pick. They could potentially still put it bot side. It'll still perform just as well. And now you have to potentially combat against it. Yone is going to be picked up. Love to see a Campania fan always pulls out all the stops here in these matches. And I'm super excited to see what they try to go for. The Ahri is hovered. It's not going to be the Ahri. Corki is going to be picked up. So Campania fans playing as the Corki. Number 2 Ginger going to be playing as this Yone. So trying to be able to combat the Gwen with another, potentially high damage, high scaling champion that the Yone can provide. VGA a little bit more team fight oriented though, and going to be really, really scary if they are able to get ahead early on. Glue Eaters now have to really decide what composition they want to play as. They could go for the Cinder, they can go for the Orianna, they can go for a support here, and they're going to go for the Orianna.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an interesting setup here from Glue Eaters. They have some long-range follow-up with Jhin, and then they have, of course, the dive with the Hecarim. Orianna is kind of occupies somewhere in the middle. She's, of course, a very solid team fighter, and pretty decent range on that as well. You can throw the ball onto the Hecarim and go for the shockwave, with your ball strapped to the horse there. I think the composition for the Glue Eaters maybe trying to do a couple of different things here, Moose. What do you think?
So you got potentially side lane carry from the Gwen, who can once, you've seen it so often since Gwen has been released and really been mastered by really high tier players, is you get Riftmaker, you get Nashor's Tooth, and you're unstoppable. And then you add the Zhonya's Hourglass on top of that. You have so much just reliable sustain with your Hollowed Mist, with the Zhonya's Hourglass, that you're just not going to be an easy target if you're able to stay ahead, which is, I think, why Virtua Gaming Ambition decided to go with the Yone as well. Like they're trying to be able to stop the Gwen in its tracks and be able to have something that could potentially carry against this. But Virtua Gaming Academy, they're building for this team fight. They want the big cataclysm into the big depth charge so that Jinx is able to get massive rockets in, massive damage, because if they can get down the Jhin or even the Orianna, like your front line is now going to be this Gwen and this Hecarim that aren't necessarily going to have that same punch in these extended plays that VGA could potentially play for. The Corki's going to be able to disrupt the play with the pack, or any plays that Glue Eaters wants to go for in a team fight with the package, able to disrupt the plays. We've seen some beautiful packages from like different player. Like we think we saw a beautiful package in the LCS that just separated everyone at the Dragon fight. And Champagne fan, he wants to play. He wants to play to win. He wants to have a really strong, wants to have a really strong performance, and he can do that here as this Corki, especially as we get into the mid to the late game. So I think the strategy here from Virtue Gaming is hold on until you get to the 10, 12-minute mark, get the opportunities that you get, the picks that you can, but really try to focus in on those team fights. Go for the Rift Herald, go for Dragon number 2, even Dragon number 3, to get those Dragon stacks going, and deny the split pushing potential that Arthur Dent is going to be able to go for on this Gwen. Force her to go that team fight, and then at that point, you're playing Virtue Gaming Ambition's game.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of team fight for Team Ambition. Absolutely, no doubt about it. Corki did, of course, receive a couple of nerfs on this patch. So one of those changes, I believe, was that they nerfed the respawn time on his package. So he's no longer going to be able to have that for every objective fight. So going to have to be pretty deliberate, I think, here for the Ambition mid laner on when he decides to use that ability, that very impactful ability that you already called out, of course, to impact the game and go for those big team fights that the composition is built for, right? And the Glue Eaters, they have the side lane, they have the engage, they have the long range follow up, decent amount of CC as well. You have the Karma, the Fear from the Hecarim, as well as the Shockwave, of course. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, I think the Glue Eaters can also team fight. It's the composition isn't necessarily front to back team fighting in the same way that Ambition's comp is, but I don't think you could count them out in that scenario either.
No, I think that Glue Eaters, they've got a really well-rounded draft. They're just not really specialized in one specific thing, and so they're gonna have to play the first 10 minutes and see where the lead is at. If they get a lead on Bondi on this Jhin, then hey, you play for those team fight plays and you let Jhin just whittle everyone down with big curtain call plays, get the root in with the Deadly Flourish, and then Hecarim can come in with the Shockwave from the Orianna and finish the job. If Arthur Dent on the Gwen gets in the lead, then maybe you play for a more split pushing strategy and force the I'd say weaker clear that a Yone or a Corki might have, especially up against a Gwen, to combat them. And now you play this split pushing game where picks are a little bit easier to potentially get with this Hecarim, with the Unstoppable Onslaught, as well as the damage that the Gwen is going to be able to provide. And so you have options on the side of Glue Eaters, but Virtue Gaming Ambition, they're gonna be strong. I'm excited to see them stick to their guns, get that massive wombo combo damage in with the Fate Sealed into the Cataclysm, into the Super Mega Death Rocket, into the Jinx resets, and just have that really solid ace to catapult themselves into a major lead once we get to the 10, 15, 20-minute mark.
Well, Moose, what do you think? Is it going to happen? Is the team fighting composition that we've drafted for our ambitious boys over here going to be good enough to take the victory in game number 1? Or are you kind of worried about this Gwen split push, this Jhin Karma lane? What do you think? Who won draft? Who would you give it to?
Solely because VGA had to respect the Karma pick, Leona being banned out, not necessarily being an effective ban, because you're not able to ban out the Gwen instead. Like, I think Glue Eaters win the draft because I think they get what they want. Virtue Gaming Ambition, they've got the opportunity to still play really, really well. And I'm excited to see what they're going to be able to do. I think we're going to take just a real quick break before we get into the game. Spectator delay is almost done, so grab that water and get your refreshments, get your snacks, and we'll be right back for game 1 between Virtue Gaming Ambitions and the Glue Eaters. We'll see you guys shortly.
Welcome back, everybody, onto Summoner's Rift for game number 1 of tonight's bout between Team Ambition and the Glue Eaters. Our boys Team Ambition, of course, on the blue side, taking on the Glue Eaters on the red side. Moose, you expect anything from level 1 here? It looks like a pretty calm opening for both of these squads to start us out.
I think that, Crewman, thank you. I think that you could see Ambition, if they really wanted to, they could have gone for a 5-man invade and gotten some deep, at the very least, gotten some deep vision. But if you misplay it and you get first blood over to Glue Eaters, it's not good. Like it's pretty bad for them because of their composition and trying to be able to play towards the mid game. So instead, just trying to be able to make sure that they can maybe just play it a little bit safe, get whatever information they can. You see that they wait a little bit longer and then they drop that ward red side, so they do get some information there, something that the Glue Eaters can't go for because they don't have a level 1. Like they just don't. So I think the play was pretty good. Not super ambitious, but some information, super important.
Nice little deep vision there. No sweeper on anybody on the side of the Glue Eaters here, so they are not going to be able to do anything about that ward, and that red will be taken on full vision. Also, Captor going to be looking to start on his own topside buff, so maybe trying to mirror the Hecarim's pathing a little bit here in the early game.
Yeah, and I think that was a plan early on. Like, I think that Captor was going blue side regardless of whether Angry Cupcake was there or not. I think they're really trying to focus in for a bot lane play. Get Lokidosi and Hawkster off to a great start. Once you get that first kill, maybe even the second kill, the bullying power that the Karma provides is not going to be there. You can see they're respecting the power of the Karma early on, and maybe trying to play for a play mid lane or bot lane. Captor is, we'll see what they want to go for. The other big thing that I'm really interested to see is how much gold Campania fan is going to get out of this first strike.
Yeah, the first strike on the Corki is definitely, I think it is a pretty popular choice. I mean, the champion has so much range that it is quite easy, assuming that you land your abilities, to be the one that hits first. So I think Chapania fan with a pretty reasonable rune selection there. I do expect him to get some decent value out of that one for sure, especially once we get towards those later portions of the game.
Oh yeah, you drop the package on, and you get several members in the package damage. You just get so much gold out of that.
That's a lot of damage,
man. Yeah, Arthur Dent got chunked there. That's a big trade for number 2 Ginger. But in terms of that, like, first strike gets more value the further you get into the game. I feel like you're not getting massive gold from first strike the first 10 minutes into it, but if you're able to land that first, then yes, you are. And so Campania fan just gonna be scaling up as well, trying to be able to go to that mid game as the rest of the team is looking towards as well.
A stacked wave crashing for Ginger up there. No jungler in the area to try and capitalize on that one though, so Mr. Dent is just going to be able to farm that one up under tower. About a little less than a wave behind Ginger right now, but you know, as he pushes it back out, should be able to catch up. We're also seeing Chapania fan the Corki with some decent priority in the mid lane here early on. Always nice to see from the Corki.
Yeah, Angry Cupcake level 4 now, so he's off of that super scary point where, you know, he doesn't have the abilities. He doesn't actually pose a threat until he hits level 3.
Lokidoki and Hawkster don't have any vision in the Tri-Brush. Hecarim thinking about a wraparound gank here.
Gotta be careful. Like, he has it. They can go for it, and they are going to try to make it happen.
The devastating charge, going to charge Loki back. Flashes away, keeps herself safe on the Jinx. Does cost the summoner spell, though. It was the ghost off of Cupcake as well.
Big flash, and it's summoner spell for summoner spell. I mean, the summoner spell on Loxidosi is a little bit more important, but the fact that you're able to survive is super big there. We're gonna get rooted, Hawkster.
I'll find the tether there. Gonna be hard to chase him down, though. The Flame Chompers come down. Hecarim has no way in. Already used the ghost there. Just wasting a little bit more time, honestly, on the horse.
Yeah, but
Hawkster the tether again, though. Hawkster has the dredge line. And now Jarvan is here. Captor still needs his reset.
I mean, this is a big wave, though. Like, you have to be able to make sure that Loxidosi can get it and they don't get dived, and so that's why he's there. Seeing that they are going to get dived, he can now back pretty safely.
Yeah, absolutely good call out there. Captor just wanting to make sure that his bot lane is safe to pick up that gigantic wave that was crashing. We also just had the first dragon spawn onto the rift. Of course, nobody making any moves towards that one just yet. But it will be an Ocean to start us off here tonight.
And unfortunately, like, the dragon stacking can now become an issue potentially early on. Angry Cupcake, Bondi, Waco G. I want to see them maybe capitalize on some of the early game power that the Karma has, because obviously when you get ultimate before everyone else, you tend to be a little bit more powerful. The reset is earlier for Glue Eaters as well, so they could be in position to go for the Dragon Take if they're able to push forward, get the wave crashing against Lokidosi, and they're not able to find it. So I think really pay attention to see what Angry Cupcake wants to do bot side and see what response the Ambition squad wants to go for. Now, crewman, there's an over-under on number 2 Ginger. I asked him.
Okay.
Oh, never mind. We got a game.
Dredge line going in, and the flash EQ for the follow-up. Captor makes it happen. Shockwave comes up, but I think it's just a little bit too little, a little bit too late. It's going to be first blood. Champagne fan.
No, I try to bring a point about number 2 Ginger, and the gank is just so beautiful from Capture and Hawkster. The dredge line landing denies any chance for Waco G to use that Karma early on, because now the Dragon's going to get taken. There's no way that they can stop that. Maybe they get the play onto
number 2
Loki.
Ginger underneath the tower, drops the Ignite, taking a lot of tower shots, though, and he will fall, and the Gwen will not. Number 2 Ginger biting off a little bit more than he could chew there. Capture getting extremely low, trying to take this Dragon. Is able to get it. EQ out of the pitch. Champagne fan as the Valkyrie, and we are going to be all safe over here. So we picked up the objective. Everybody gets out of the pit, but number 2 Ginger, unfortunately, does end up giving one back in that top side.
Whoa, what an exciting, like, last 2 minutes, or like about 75 seconds there, crewman. We get the first blood on to Zephyr, which gives Team Ambition the opportunity.
He wants his revenge, Ginger. He finds it. Oh, Arthur Dent wasn't ready. He was doing a little bit of window shopping there, I suppose.
Oh, man, that was so rough. As the plays aren't over yet.
Oh, the wraparound from Hawkster. They never saw it coming again. And there's the dunk. Bondi trying to flash his way out, but the Jin, I don't think he's going to escape dodges. Nice sidestep on the Zap. And Bondi is able to make his way back to the tower with the use of both summoner spells.
Yeah, and still level 5 on Angry Cupcake. Doesn't have Onslaught as Shadows to really be super effective in these ganks just yet. Campani fan really low, though. Going to be able to get away from that.
Shockwave was just a few seconds off of cooldown. Zephyr didn't quite have it back up yet. Oh, but Angry Cupcake has the charge. He has the ghost. He's so fast. And he is going to be able to take out Champagne fan.
Yes.
Did use Ghost and the Onslaught of Shadows there, but I think well worth it to get 300 gold in the horse's pocket.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you want. Like, you want to be able to find those plays, and Companion fan not respecting the power of a Ghost Smite Hecarim. You know, you don't have Flash, so you don't have the ability to reposition. But he is a fast boy, and he does put in damage. I don't know if Onslaught of Shadows was necessarily needed, but he used it because Flash was used, and so, you know, why not make sure that the play happens? So good call there, coming in from Angry Cupcake. But the lead is still a little bit in favor of Virtue Gaming Ambition. The squad able to get some damage in, able to, be in a strong position, and this is what you want for Virtue Gaming. But they are in
Flash
trouble.
And Waco G gonna drop the tether. Champagne fan getting rooted up. Sir Zephyr going for the shockwave, ignite down as well. Cupcake able to finish him off with the rampage. Ginger a little bit too late to the party here. Tries to toss out the Yone ultimate, the Fate Unbound, but he's not able to find anybody with it. They're all underneath the tower now. It's just going to be 1-0. The Death Rocket, decent attempt from Loki, but not able to find the Karma, and it will be a 1-0 in mid lane.
Yeah, solid roam there from Waco G. Something that Companion didn't expect, and not respecting again the potential that they have to dive against him, and so he falls once more, gets himself behind the Orianna. If we take a look at the gold really quick, feeling pretty good about Zephyr's position despite getting hit by the first blood. Now going to be in the lead by a couple of waves, and on top of that, Angry Cupcake with a 2-0-0 bounty is going to be feeling good as well. Looks like he's going for a Sheen build as well, so maybe trying to pay some respect to how powerful Trinity Force has become.
Yeah, potentially. Could be seeing that coming through. That's like an old school build on the Hecarim, the Trinity Force. Haven't seen that for a long time. But, if he's trying to go for the carry horse, could see it. Hawkster looks like he was threatening the dredge line for a second there, but decided not to go for it.
Yeah, a couple of really, I mean, strong plays from both sides. Glue Eaters needed those plays to be able to get back on track, because now we're back again to an even game. The snowball has started to begin for Virtue Gaming Ambition, so instead of letting that happen, they kind of relax it, or they bring it back, and now they're potentially going in for another dive here. Angry Cupcake waiting in the brush.
Yeah, really wants to hang out, see if he can make something happen. We're going to have Dragon number 2 in just over a minute. So if we are able to find control over the bot lane for one of these squads, could be very significant for the upcoming fight. Chapanya fan once again taking quite a lot of damage here in mid lane. Onside of Shadows comes out. Loki with another nice flash away. Hawkster with the attempted counter engagement puts himself maybe in a little bit of danger. Dredgeline comes out now, or the death charge onto Bondi, gets knocked up. Ignite now, and there's the death rocket. Cleans up OG. And now Bondi's in some trouble in the Cataclysm. He's in the cage, and he is going to get taken out. Cupcake now in the middle of 3. He gets shut down. It's 2 kills over to Loki, and it's the side of Ambition squarely in the lead.
Man, a little bit of an outplay there from Virtue Gaming Ambition. They knew that Onslaught of Shadows was not up because it was used in the last play, and Hawkster finds a dredge line in. It doesn't land on everybody, and so overconfidence from Angry Cupcake, from Wake OG. They try to go in for the kill onto Hawkster.
It's going to be a 1v1 in top lane. Arthur Dent dropping the Ignite, but the Yone ultimate takes him up. And there is the kill. 300 more gold for Ginger, finding another outplay here in top lane.
Yeah, and so the outplays continue, and Arthur Dent, he's playing as the Gwen, but he doesn't have items yet, so he's not super powerful. He doesn't have that Riftmaker just yet, but still looking for plays, maybe.
There's another dredge line connecting the EQ in. There's the package. It's Corky flying into the back line. We're able to take out the enemy mid laner. Zepre is down. Angry Cupcake now once again finds himself in the middle of the enemy team. It's going to be a double kill for Captor, and Dragon number 2 on top.
Oh my goodness. You know, this Virtue Gaming Ambition squad, game 1, so fun to watch. Runeterra Academy senior class is definitely living up to this week 1 hype. My word, you give one advantage over to Virtue Gaming Ambition, and they turn it into all 5 members of the Glue Eaters dying within the span of about 75 seconds. So really big plays coming through. Virtue Gaming Ambition not letting off the gas.
Yeah, it's been a fun one. Our Virtuous Gaming boys so far have been putting on quite a show for us. They've increased their lead to about 3,000 now, but Ginger maybe in a little bit of trouble. He has his jungler here, though. Wake OG maybe actually caught out a little bit. There's the knock-up, and I actually didn't realize that Jarvan was Jarvan and not Hecarim, but Zepre has made his way back to make this a 2v2 once again. Flash away from the shockwave. Ginger dashing in. EQ flash away from Zepre, staying alive. Arthur Dent is immune, but not in the end. He does go down. Captor now is trying to do the rope dope around Zepre. Has a decent amount of damage, but isn't enough. He's able to get 1 kill back, but it's going to be a 2-for-1 in top lane again. The fight goes in favor of Ambition.
And both summoner spells used by Zepre as well. Arthur Dent with no flash goes with the Ignite teleport build. Doesn't have any real way to escape once he uses that dash, and so ended up falling in. But hold that thought.
Yeah, Cupcake looking like he wants to go in on this biplaned Yordle here. Chapanya fan maybe in some trouble. The Hecarim has the Conqueror, not the phase rush. The Corky get a Valkyrie away, flash away from the Onslaught of Shadows, and now Cupcake, oh, he's in no man's land once again. This Hecarim has just been having a very unfortunate game so far. He had a decent start, but now 3 deaths in a row for Cupcake. He's in a bit of a tough spot now, down 4-13 to Team Ambition here. We're going to have that soul point fight in just 3 minutes' time.
Yeah, and he's nervous as well about all of the 80 damage that Team Ambition has built, or Virtue Gaming Ambition has built. He doesn't build his mythic item and instead goes for the boots immediately. Now, maybe that is because he died, and so he wasn't able to actually get enough gold to finish his mythic, and so he decides to go for go for his boots first. But in any position, like, you've got all of your components ready to go, like, build that item. Don't like, you got the movement speed already, but instead you go for the you go for the, what is it, plated steel caps first. So yes, you do get an extra movement speed on that, but the power of the mythic item is just too big, and so I think that maybe a little bit of a misplay there. But at the end of the day, the last 4 minutes have been so good. The snowball has been built.
Oh, that's tier 1 tower is about to get taken out here, and Arthur Dent no longer has any structures defending him, but he does have quite a lot of needles trying to get one back here, but he gets knocked up. Captor lands the EQ there, the flag, and Drag secures the kill. Cupcake, though, making his way back into this top lane, but Hecarim, your friend is already dead. Cupcake, you don't have your Trinity Force yet. What are you doing, man? Yeah, and imagine that fight if Arthur Dent had Riftmaker. Imagine that fight if Angry Cupcake had Trinity Force. Like, they are dead in that 2v2. OG wanted to go for the tether, but he's going to set up for the depth charge onto Bondi. Gale Force away from Loki. The Shockwave comes up, but it's an air ball. Doesn't connect onto anybody. Curtain Call comes out. Again, those shots, most of those going wide. Spells just not landing for the side of the Glue Eaters.
Yeah, and I mean, the snowball has now really been the big issue here, and Captor just wants to continue to keep it going.
Here comes Captor. He's got the EQ. Does not have the Cataclysm. Gonna get tethered up there, and it looks like the Jin Karma will get away from now. That's the Yone Ultimate flying in there. Zephyr just gets one shot. That's some fair and balanced gameplay if I've ever seen it.
Well, I mean, when you're 8-1-1, like, you get to do those things. And now finally we get to see Cupcake getting the Trinity Force, but I think it's too little too late here, because you've given such an advantage over to this really mid-game, high-scaling build composition that Virtue Gaming Ambition has built for, and your carries are so far behind right now. Arthur Dent finally picking up the Riftmaker, and so some itemization issues leading into some crucial team fights that have allowed for the snowball to build to the 7,000 gold lead 16 minutes into the game. Like, you know, if this was LCS, like, this is when the casters start, you know, waiting the inevitable here, because this is a massive lead early in this game.
Yeah, this is when we start talking about, like, what we had for dinner, as Cupcake is dead again, because Ginger is doing some Yone things. Capture over the wall. EQ gonna look for a little bit more. Has Cataclysm off cooldown now. Will he decide to go for it? Bondi, yeah, he's gonna get Cataclysm to flash out. Doesn't matter. The Dragon Strike finishes him off. Captor with a solo kill behind enemy lines.
Put his head on a spike and declare victory for House Ambition. Virtue Gaming are going to be able to pick up soul point for this Cloud Drake. Arthur Dent is doing what he can topside. He'll pick up a tower out of that, but, you know, massive damage from number 2 Ginger. I was talking to him earlier today. I asked, what should we expect from Ambition today against the Glue Eaters? And he said pure inting. And I asked him, I said, how many deaths are we expecting from you? And he said, oh, at the least 15. He's at 1 death right now and 9 kills. But Jampani fan, maybe looking for a death here, has to drop the package, so we'll be able to survive. I mean, this is almost flawless execution from Virtue Gaming Ambition. 9-1-1 Yone, 5-1-8 J4. A solid performance from Loki Dosi and Hawkster, who survived those early plays from Cupcake and this Hecarim. That, you know, now they run the Rift.
Yeah, absolutely. This gold lead really has exploded, and I mean, Corky is just getting a free ride into the mid game here, and he is just going to get more and more threatening. About 50 stacks left until he is able to fully charge up that Mana Moon. And he is just going to be hitting like an absolute truck. 19 charges left on the Cull as well. We already have a lot of control on the enemies in the enemy jungle here. Full control over the river, of course, as well. And almost able to take out that tier 2 in mid, even with the Herald charge.
Yeah, so, I mean, good vision coming through from Virtue Gaming Ambition. Just wanting to be able to continue the play coming through, but Cupcake now maybe in trouble.
Yeah, the Ghost has been popped for Cupcake. Chapani fan going for the Valkyrie. It's not enough to save him, though. The Shockwave finishes him off. Hecarim gets the last hit as the EQ in. The shutdown, maxed out shutdown. Goes over to Arthur Dent. Cataclysm in now. Red buff, able to finish him off. Bondi Gale Force in, though. Needs just a little bit more. One more auto. Can he find it? The Super Mega Death Rocket is blocked by Wake OG. Flashes in for the Ignite. Able to find the kill. Bondi Captor. But now Loki is here, able to get one back onto the Karma, flashing away now as Zepre. No shockwave right now, but the curtain does get called. Bullets start flying out. It's a lot of damage onto Loki. The fourth shot does miss, but Cupcake's still on the chase. The onslaught of shadows comes out, does manage to get the fear. One more rampage seals the deal. Loki falls for the first time this game. And now Hawkster out of allies. He will also get shut down. That kill credit going over to Zepre, his second of the game, and that was not great from Ambition, giving a little bit of gold back there. I don't know if there's really cause for concern yet, but what was going on there, Moose?
I mean, Angry Cupcake's movement speed is what happened there. He was able to get from bot side and just rushed his way up to the top side of the rift. And unfortunately, like, just overconfidence. So the theme of overconfidence just continuing to plague both of these teams. The overconfidence from Angry Cupcake, Bondi, and Waco G in that bottom lane play a little while back cost them the snowball that gets it to the game state that we have now. But the overconfidence of Virtue Gaming Ambition, they had the wards, but they tried to play under tower, and they're just not quite there yet, especially since Gwen is, Gwen is still Gwen. Gwen still has healing. Gwen still has damage. Zepre can, if he finds the shockwave, still has damage, and they were able to get those big shutdowns, massive gold over to the side of the Glue Eaters. Unfortunately, though, maybe not in the places that you want.
That's the number 2 Ginger looking for the kill off to the Hecarim. Oh, poor Cupcake just wanted some Raptors, but that was not allowed. Depth charge comes out. OG knocked up into the air. The shockwave to try and peel for the support. Not enough. It's a double kill for Ginger. He's flashing and he wants to make it 3. It's the triple kill. Is it going to be a penta? There's 4. Bondi is the last man standing. Get in there, Ginger. Get in there, everybody. We got to make this penta kill happen. Captor. Look for the flag and drag over the wall to set this one up. There it is. The dunk.
Oh, no.
Report this, Jarvan.
Oh no, Captor! Oh, we get the laugh as well. Number 2 Ginger just flexing the wallet here at the 21-minute mark. They're able to pick up the inhibitor. A minute remaining until Cloud Soul spawns, but you have to wonder if it's even needed at this point. A Yone with Infinity Edge and Immortal Shield Bow is just not going to have an issue in any 1v1. I don't care that Gwen is super powerful, but a 2-6-2 Gwen, 50 CS behind a Yone, will not survive the onslaught of damage that number 2 Ginger is going to be able to bring to the table. And so now we have to think, is he going to be able to get to 15 kills in this game? Is he going to be able to get to that and deny me my under 15 deaths? Because he's obviously not going to get to 15 deaths in this game. I don't think he's going to get to 15 deaths in this series, considering how well he played in this one so far. But, I mean, if you're Glue Eaters, you're looking for a pick right now before the Dragon spawns.
They found one. Maybe Captor going to get rooted up by the Deadly Flourish. They're going to get rooted by Karma as well. Waco G. We get a lot of damage down here. Dredgeline comes in, though. Shockwave comes out onto Trapani Fan. Corky gets feared up here. Trapani Fan taken out at the beginning of this fight. Zepra gets dunked on by Captor, but he's running out of HP. Doesn't have the damage. It's the side of the Glue Eaters coming out massively on top in this one. Yone able to pick up 1 kill onto the back line. Number 2 Ginger trying to see if what he can do. It's another run at the pentakill. Can he do it? It's Ginger against the world. 3 members of the Glue Eaters still alive. Waco G with a little Q over the wall there. They can't fight the Yone. They're just going to let him have the Cloud Soul. The Super Minions are on the Nexus towers. The Glue Eater is stuck between a rock and a hard place here. Yone does not have Smite. He has a lot of damage, but he doesn't have a Smite. He's trying to get a lot of damage out now. He has the Guardian Angel still. Arthur Dent's still alive. They're DPSing the Dragon right now. Poor shot comes out, and Ginger steals it. Oh, they kept DPSing the Dragon. Yone comes back up, able to find the last hit and secure Cloud Soul for the squad. Super Mega Death Rocket. Oh, just wide right there. Very close for Loki.
That is about as perfect of a scenario that you wanted for Glue Eaters. You get the route onto Capture, and they're forced into the fight at that point. Like, you Capture, they think, hey, we're in the lead by 8,000-9,000 gold. We should be fine in this play, even if they get played upon. But unfortunately, the Onslaught of Shadows lands onto several members, but I can't even talk about that as the fight begins once again.
They found one fight for the Glue Eaters. Can they find another? That's a lot of damage onto Karma to start this one off. Remember, the very key factor to start that last one off was Trapani Fan getting taken out right at the beginning. Angry Cupcake able to catch him out with the Onslaught of Shadows there. Corky was CC'd 100-0. If Trapani Fan can stay safe and get out those rockets, it should look a lot better for Team Ambition.
Yeah, and now he's got the Maw as well, so he's going to be able to get some extra magic resistance to be able to survive against Dent and Zephyr and the damage that he has. I mean, Maw is just such a high value item right now, so I really think, like players like the Corki, I mean, even the J4 could potentially go for it as an item if they wanted to go for it. But
this carries and Yone already down to 3,000 HP. I don't think Glue Eaters even know what's going on here. It's gone. Smite is good from Caster. Now over the wall of Ginger, looking for a little bit more EQ into the dunk, and that's the Karma dead already. Trapani now flying into the backline with the package, and he is able to keep himself safe and is able to keep the Glue Eaters very much dead. Zephyr goes for the Shockwave, but not before his own life is forfeit, and it's going to be a clean ace to finish up game number 1.
Yeah, 5-0 in favor of Virtue Gaming Ambition. They don't even give them the satisfaction. It is the kill and the win here for Virtue Gaming Ambition. Nicely done all around. And it all started from just one play. One missed opportunity gave Capture so much gold and so much presence. And again, I have to really harken back to the Playbot side. With Angry Cupcake, they try to get the kill onto Loxy Doxy and Huckster, but unfortunately, they get baited into waiting too long. Capture's able to come through. You get several kills on your Jinx, on your J4, and number 2, Ginger has a phenomenal game topside. 34,000 damage, crewman, on this Yone. Completely made the Gwen irrelevant, who had 11k damage against champions there in that one. Super big brain pickup here from the side of Virtue Gaming Ambition. And now they're just one game away from making this a 2-0 sweep.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly how you want to start off your season, right, Moose? What better way to start off the season than a nice, strong 2-0 start here? Certainly what our Ambition boys are going to be looking for. And I love the shout out for Ginger. He really did have a fantastic game on the Yone. He made maybe a little oopsie at the beginning there when we got taken out by the tower. But, after that point, it really was just dominance from Ginger up there. So props to him. Captor also, I think, deserves some special recognition. As a couple of junglers on the cast, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't shout out the jungler moves.
Oh, yeah.
He was always there for the counter ganks, able to really help set up the team for success. And yeah, just Team Ambition kind of able to bounce the Glue Eaters off the windshield there. And just smooth sailing, going to cruise right on into game 2 here, and could even look for a very similar strategy. Just another team fighting comp if it's not broken, right?
Yeah, I mean, it worked really, really well. Despite I think Glue Eaters getting the draft that they wanted, they never had the opportunity to really capitalize upon it because number 2 Ginger was able to get ahead so much, and that was what I was alluding to, is that there was never really a point where the Glue Eaters were able to capitalize on the different pieces they were able to build into a potential snowball of their own. They never had the chance to show us the power of a high value Gwen or a really powerful Jhin, because the gold was so even throughout the first 10 minutes that when the snowball started to begin for Virtue Gaming Ambition, they were just able to continue to keep it going. Glue Eaters were forced into positions that they didn't want, but they also got picked off. Like, they just got picked off in these 1v1s. Number 2, Ginger was able to get kills. Even Campania Fan was doing well against Zephyr and the Oriana. So, unfortunately for Glue Eaters, I think they have to go back to the drawing board, maybe consider giving some more priority to Arthur Dent in the top lane to make sure that he's able to have a really good game against number 2 Ginger. But with Ginger being able to play that carry so well, it's going to be a tough one for sure.
Well, we are to champ select now for game 2, guys. We'll see if that ends up coming through. We are switching sides for our second game. So the Glue Eaters opting into blue side after that defeat, which I does think makes a good amount of sense. See what they decide to prioritize with that first pick. It means they are not going to be able to find a counter pick for Arthur Dent up there. So I wonder what he is going to look towards. Looks like the priority is going to be to take away that Jinx from Loki. She was quite good on it in that last game. So not a bad call. Jinx, of course, a very, very strong champion as well. Oh, what's this? Well, it's something that can't get locked in, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but
Zeri not allowed. And I mean, personally, in my opinion, I don't think B1 Jinx is as effective as some teams prioritize it for, because it can get countered. And there are options that go against it, unless you're banning out other ADCs. Unless you're banning out the Caitlyn, you're banning out the Jhin, you're banning out the Aphelios. The Jinx is not necessarily the super high ADC pick that you're expecting. Like, Aphelios gets picked up here for Loxi Doxy, and it can have just as much of an impact in the game than the Jinx does if he's able to get to that 2-3 item power spike. So I don't think the priority for the Jinx is necessarily needed. You get the Aphelios Thresh for Virtue Gaming Ambition, that's super good, regardless of what Glue Eaters want to go for here. So it's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the side of Ambition is going to be quite happy with the Aphelios Thresh lane for sure. I am curious what we see from the Glue Eaters if we want to go back to the Karma again. I think that's something that can work with the Jinx. It's tough with the Thresh on the other side. That's definitely one of the stronger pairings. I mean, you could see something like the Nautilus or the Leona come in if they want to play that lane more aggressively. That's actually a Karthus lock-in.
It sure is.
Interesting.
It's definitely Karthus support, like, obviously. Like, there's no other way. No, I'm kidding. There's no way. But I have been seeing First Strike Karthus come through. If you're able to find it onto a big Requiem, it does give you a lot of gold starting at level 6. So it's going to be Karthus jungle. Or maybe even Karthus mid. But either way, it is a Karthus. Fiddlesticks is getting hovered. Oh man,
the sticks.
Oh man, if Fiddlesticks gets locked in, Virtue Gaming Ambition, please. I love me some Fiddlesticks. It's if I don't get to play Taliyah and there's another AP champion available, Fiddlesticks is my option. It's not going to be Fiddlesticks, it looks like. Kindra's going to get locked in, so unfortunate there, but still.
The Kindred. Okay, I am a fan of the Kindred. Maybe more so than the Fiddlesticks. So at least one of us is happy, right, Moose?
I mean, I'm glad that you're happy, and I'm not mad at the Kindred. Like, it's a solid, really fun pickup. I think Lamb's Respite, really fun mechanic, and could be really good at denying maybe some of the harder carry potentials that Glue Eaters are going to try to go for in the mid and the top lane. And I'm loving to see what Captor is going to be able to do with it in the jungle here today.
Yeah, couple of thoughts on the Kindred. First of all, one of Kindred's greatest strengths, right, is the carry potential. Infinite scaling on this champ, theoretically. And it's really one of the more powerful things is, you get so much range, you get so much damage later on into the game that the Kindred can be very, very threatening. But for the side of Ambition, you already have this Aphelios who does a very kind of similar thing, right? So really, I mean, Ambition, I think, need a lot of frontline here to try and make this work. I mean, they have a lot of threat already from their jungle and AD positions, but they got to be careful that they're not too squishy, that their composition doesn't lack structure in any kind of critical way. Also, interesting note about the Kindred, it can be a little tricky into a champion like Karthus. Basically, whoever uses R first is probably going to lose pretty hard. So it's there's a lot of factors that come into play there, but it's an interesting interaction that could definitely go either way.
The Ornn top lane. Now, the thought in my head is, what if this is a number 2 Ginger angle and Kindred is played topside? And you get the Smite roaming Kindred here, which could be pretty fun. Doubtful though. I mean, we'll see what their last pick is wanting to go for. But Trendemir and Ornn picked up. It is going to be a Karthus mid lane. Ahri's hovered, and it's an Ahri, which is a little weird. But I think number 2 Ginger is just feeling super confident about what he was able to do in game 1. That he can do whatever he wants here. So we'll see if that actually goes and bites him, because Trendemir, if he's able to get ahead early on, can be just a menace. And Glue Eaters definitely have a composition that can give this Trendemir some options. I'm just a little confused at the composition. Like, you've got Ornn, so I'm thinking it's Ornn top.
Yeah, it's Karthus jungle, Trend mid. Yeah, for sure. That's the play. I think Trendemir into the Corki is something that can work. We've seen some. I don't know if we've seen this particular matchup in professional play. It's probably been done at this point, but we have seen Tryndamere a lot into picks like the Graves, like other kind of ranged champions, where he doesn't necessarily do well early on, but once he gets to the point where he has a couple of items, and he, if he's in a 1v1 situation in the side lane, the Tryndamere is more than capable of zeroing out those kind of squishy carry type champs in a solo lane. So could potentially look pretty threatening for Zepre here, assuming it is going to be the Tryndamere mid. We should, we'll have to wait and see just to confirm that is what is indeed going to come through here. But I kind of want to talk more about this ambition composition. They did, Moose, opt into the triple marksman comp with presumably an Ahri top lane, which feels a little BM. Kind of feels like they're saying, we stomped that first game. We're just gonna pick whatever we want and have fun with this one. What do you think?
I mean, I'm looking in we're in the draft right now, so number 2 Ginger is selecting his champion. I want to see what he's going for. So it's gonna be Corki top.
Okay.
So Corki top and then Ahri mid. So Campania fan playing as the Ahri. Corki against Ornn is gonna be, I think, fine for number 2 Ginger. I think that he is able to continue to have that carry potential. He's able to have that damage. Ornn is just going to have to play super passively for the early stages of the game. That is not a gankable lane. I don't think. Number 2 Ginger just holds on to Valkyrie and is then able to Valkyrie away. He avoids the slow from the Karthus. Ornn is not going to be able to knock him up, and he should be just fine. I'm curious to see how he does get punished for it, though. That's the big thing is, yes, you're playing this Corki top side, but now Glue Eaters, how do you punish it? And I don't think you punish it pre-6. Once you get pre-6, then you call the Forge God to bait out the Valkyrie, and then you're able to knock him up, then that is the damage coming through. Otherwise, you're expecting a roam from Zephyr, Karthus coming through to be able to stop number 2 Ginger from being able to escape enough. He gets dove on, and then he dies. And so that's, I think, the expectation here is that I want to see top lane priority. Maybe number 2 Ginger gets dove upon, because once he does get dove, you get Zephyr that's able to drop in, take the kill, and make it happen. And so I'm curious to see if that is going to be the case. But Crewman, like I was talking about, I'm waiting to see this loadout here, because now Glue Eaters is scaring me, because I see the Rakan being hovered by Zephyr here with 18 seconds remaining until the loadouts are completed. Oh, no, wait.
Oh, they switched again. They switched again. Okay.
All right.
I thought we were there.
Give me some palpitations here over on the Glue Eater side.
Yeah, I mean, I will say here, Moose, you're talking about that Corki Ornn matchup, and I have to say, I really expect Zepre on this Tryndamere to just kind of try and figure out where Ginger is going to be laning and just try and match that Corki. I really think that the side of the Glue Eaters are going to want the Tryndamere into the Corki and the Ornn into the Ahri. But of course, the reverse of that is also true. Ginger is going to be trying to find this Ornn and just trying to, fill him full of rockets at every opportunity. So it's going to be interesting, a little dance that I expect to see between the solo laners to try and, get those favorable matchups. But, just continuing to talk about these team comps a little bit. We have a little bit of time left on the spectator delay before we are going to be getting into game here. But the side of, you talked about this a little bit already, Moose, but the side of the Glue Eaters have a lot of engage. They have Ornn ult as well as Rakan, and they have a ton of long-range damage as well with the Karthus ult and the Jinx. So it's really, I think the side of Ambition, they're going to have to play these fights very carefully. Ambition has a lot of tools as well. They're going to have a lot of damage themselves to try and make these fights work, but they're going to have to be so careful that they don't get caught out by any of these abilities.
Right. If they get hit by, my big expectation here, or not my big expectation, but my major question is, in these team fights, is how well Zephyr is able to use Mocking Shout. Tryndamere was used in LCS this week, and that's where I learned that Mocking Shout reduces the AD of anyone that gets affected by it. So yeah. In a triple marksman composition, if they find a really strong mocking shout. That is the initiation that they can use to then pick up those kills, they get the first initial slow, and then you are able to layer the CC on top of that with the slow from the Karthus, the root from the Jinx, and then the charm from the Rakan. So you definitely are worried about that if you are Virtue Gaming Ambition, but you've got some pretty solid, like, you got some solid long range poke as well. The Corki Rockets, even Ahri, Orbs of Deception can deal a lot of damage. And with the changes to Ahri, if she's able to find those resets, she's going to be super slippery with Spirit Rush. So I'm expecting some really solid performances from both teams. I want to see what number 2 Ginger is going to be able to do with this Corki. Obviously, I'm very excited to see the dynamic between Requiem from the Karthus, the Tryndamere ultimate, as well as Lamb's Respite, the Kindred ultimate, see the dynamic of how that plays out in these games. And it's a big one for Glue Eaters. They need to win this one to take us to a game 3.
Game 2 right after this. Welcome back to Summoner's Rift, folks. We are getting game 2 now underway. Sides have been swapped for our second game of the night. So we're going to see the Glue Eaters moving over to blue side and our Team Ambition taking their positions on the red. Looks like something a little bit different coming out from the Glue Eaters here, perhaps, Moose. Stacking up a little bit towards this top side of the map for level 1.
They want to try to find number 2 Ginger, and if they can get Valkyrie out of Ginger, like, that'd be pretty cool as well. However,
wow, Ginger's gonna face check this. There's the grand entrance in, gets the knock up. Ginger in some trouble here, has the flash, gonna try and escape, but there are some flashes. There's the ignite, Zepra's popping the ghost. There's the first blood for the Tryndamere.
Yeah, and he even drops Valkyrie as well. That went as good as you wanted it. For Glue Eaters, they get the first blood. The consolation prize is that you do get Deep Vision for the side of Virtue Gaming Ambition on the other side of the Rift, so that you do know where Angry Cupcake is starting and where he is at here in the early game. But yeah, number 2 Ginger, like, he gets cocky and goes a little too far forward.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of unlucky, I think we can say on that one, honestly. I mean, Ginger didn't have really any business walking into the river like that, but at the same time, he didn't have any reason to expect that, like, the entire enemy team was just standing there waiting for him. So a little unfortunate there for Ginger. It does cost him quite a lot. But of course, Corki not really doing much in the early game anyways, just going to be wanting to play that as safe as possible and farm it out.
So again, I think on the side of Virtue Gaming Ambition, again, playing towards that mid game, you got the Cole coming through from Ginger, just looking to be able to farm up, and it is the lane swap. Zephyr is playing against the Corki, which is, I think, expected. I think that was probably the right call, that you're able to really deny that. But now Arthur Den, he is just not gonna have a fun time or mid. I've seen it played a couple of times before in this elo, but I've never seen it be super successful, because you're really looking for Ornn to get to level 14 to be able to then use those ultimates. But if he doesn't get there, he's going to be in a really tough situation.
Zepra, you know you're only level 2, right? You don't have the Undying Rage yet. He was looking very aggressively there, just trying to get a little chip damage on the turret, I suppose. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I think Ornn is not going to have a very fun time, as that's the grand entrance in. Decent damage onto Loki. Bondi and Wake OG clearly coming to play down there in the bottom lane. Zepre continuing to put on the pressure. But yeah, I mean, once the Ornn gets a little bit of resistances, a little bit of health, you should be feeling better in this lane at least. But yeah, certainly going to be hurting for a while. Not really going to have any priority there against the Ahri. I think we would have to expect Death Sentence, only minion.
Yeah, but I mean, Zepre just continuing to harass here.
So this is going to be a 3v3 in the top side river. The mark is not here. It's on the bottom side, but still the junglers are fighting over this crab. Kindred wants both of them, I suppose. And she's actually going to lose the bottom crab. Very nice from Bondi and Wake OG to make that roam up and deny the mark from the Kindred. Very well played by that Glue Eater bot lane.
They had the early damage thanks to Wake OG finding a really strong heroic entrance there, and now maybe in trouble again. Loki Dosi.
Speaking of damage, but they're getting some back now onto Bondi. Ephelios has Purple Gun trying to get that CC. Beautiful Death Sentence. Bondi gonna get rooted up here by the Graft. I'm flashing in. Loki, one more auto, and he finds it. It's a kill for the AD carry for Team Ambition. He's getting knocked up now, though, and Wake OG able to get one back. Ephelios burned everything to get that kill onto the Jinx, and he does get traded back. But the kill onto the support, definitely a win for Team Ambition down there in the bottom lane. Now Captor just kind of hanging out. Wanted to see if Zepre goes for an aggressive spin here. The Kindred will complete the reset, and we're looking at a pretty even game here, 4.5 minutes in.
Yeah, I mean, you take that trade bot side for Virtue Gaming Ambition because you get the gold onto the Aphelios. The kill or the damage goes over to, or the kill goes over to Wake OG. Hold on.
Yeah, Chapanya Fanning gonna face check a Karthus here. Lands the charm. Is it enough to escape though? Another Skittle lands the flash away. Chapanya Fan's still alive. This last Skittle there does not connect. Capture now, making his way into the mid lane, getting some decent damage down, but he's gotta be careful. Dodging out on those Skittles pretty nicely, but is gonna have to flash in the end. And he will be able to keep his life. Very low health bar for the Ornn there, as well as the Ghost getting popped once again for Zepre. Still doesn't have the Undying Rage. Gonna flash underneath the tower, and he doesn't get the kill. Level 5 Tryndamere using both summoners and giving one over to Corki.
Man, I mean, what an ambitious play there, I think, from Zepre. Like, there was no reason for him to try to go for that in the early, in this early of a game. If Undying Rage, absolutely, but you just give so much more momentum over to this Corki. Number 2 Ginger going to be able to pick up that kill, deny level 6 from Zepre a little while longer. But like, we're seeing how that lane gets played out is Zepre slides right in with his E, and then Valkyrie gets used by Ginger to be able to run away. But if he gets bit by the Mocking Shout, it's like a bad news bear situation. But then going back over to that mid lane fight, that's the issue of a jungle Karthus and a mid Ornn. You really don't have any major lockdown. And so Companifen, yes, he does have to use flash, but then you can't actually get the execute to happen. It almost results in Wake OG's death because it gets charmed right under towers. So I think really well played there by Virtue Gaming Ambition. Almost really great. As
Wake OG gonna find a double knock up at the grand entrance. Zap comes out. We're gonna slow on to Hawkster, but they're not gonna press this fight any further. Yeah, absolutely. That fight in the mid lane was pretty close. The side of the Glue Eaters were able to secure 2 flashes for 1. So a very slight win, you could say, as Zepre gonna go in once again with the spinning slash, but Kindred is here. Chapanya Fan is now the one matching the Tryndamere. The Corki has made his way into the mid lane, so Ginger gonna be more comfortable down there. He was, of course, able to pick up that solo kill onto Zepre, but maybe not wanting to push his luck.
Maybe just trying to be able to also just, again, force out the power of Arthur Dent. Level 6 on the Ornn now. Does have Call of the Forge God.
Okay, there's the aggressive spin. The charm lands. Zepre, he has the Undying Rage. Going to be forced to burn it early on here. Does he even have enough time to escape? That's the dash in. Chapanya Fan with the last hit. They're able to pick up another kill onto the Tryndamere. And now the gold pretty much dead even.
Yeah, another good play there. I mean, it was not necessary for Zepre to try to go in on that play. Like, he didn't have
wave crash.
vision. he didn't have the vision, he didn't have the control of the wave, and so Capture was able to stay there. He wasn't even a level 6 Kindred, so he couldn't have even dropped Rams or Spite, but good response from Glue Eaters. They see that the jungler is topside, so they take the Hextech Drake. It's a pretty solid first Drake to pick up. There weren't any camps for Capture to take either, so he doesn't really get anything else other than the assist gold. So, a solid rebuttal from the Glue Eaters.
I didn't see if Tryndamere was marked for that play or not. I'm not sure if Kindred has been able to secure any marks yet. That was her first assist. Pretty sure we saw her miss out on the first crab. So if Tryndamere wasn't marked, then Kindred might still be markless. Maybe if our observers could click on the Kindred, and we could figure out that situation. But I believe no marks yet for the Kindred, as that is going to be a play down here in the bottom lane. 2v2 breaking out once again. Hawkster with the Lantern into the death sentence onto Wako G. Rakan has one more battle dance, but it's not enough to keep him alive. Bondi underneath the tower, able to keep himself safe for now, as Capture does make his way down here. They're going to be able to crash this wave. Are they even looking for a little bit more? The Death Rocket is good. Good damage onto the Aphelios. Loki is down to a little over 200 HP now. They're just going to pick up these turret plates and zone Jinx off the wave. Pretty effective, and now we see Capture. There comes the Karthus laser. Able to get a little bit of damage down, but no kills, and that mark should certainly be picked up by Capture.
Again, another nice response from the Glue Eaters. Yes, they lose out on the death, but you get the Rift Herald, and it goes over to Zephyr as well. So he's going to be able to get some nice solo gold, going to try to continue to be that split-pushing carry potential character here. Undying Rage is ready, but Campania Fan does have a Crash Wave. He might feel confident enough to try to force out the Undying Rage. Nope, going to walk away. So, again, I have to shout out Angry Cupcake. He sees the Kindred in the bot lane and decides, hey, I'm going to go for Rift Herald. I feel confident in this play. I feel good about it because the jungler isn't there, and he's able to pick up the second neutral objective of the game. He is definitely out macroing the jungler right now.
Absolutely. Able to pick up that first dragon as well, of course. So both neutrals so far for the Glue Eaters. Chapanya Fan getting pushed in a little bit here. Oh, that's a Lantern. We're going to look for a play once again. The flash into the play. Bondi with a decent flash response, able to get away from the Death Sentence, but the Moonlight Vigil comes out, and Bondi is down to 1 HP. That was almost a kill for Loki.
Yeah, less than 10 HP there. Hawkster Loki Dosi just trying to continue to keep the power on to a Bondi, keep the Jinx at bay for as long as possible. And Hawkster's been so aggressive in these plays, trying to find the melee, trying to find the damage, and has been pretty successful in the flays, has had some nice death sentences, and so just continuing to be a really strong support player for Virtue Gaming Ambition. And Loki Dosi, he loves it. He loves having a support that he can rely on.
Yeah, the Thresh play has been absolutely fantastic so far, for sure. Excited to see what else Hawkster is able to get done in this one. Moving into the river now, trying to secure a little bit of vision control as Karthus continues his power clear. A little bit up on the Kindred right now, in addition to collecting those neutral objectives. But he is, of course, down the assist, as that's going to be Zephyr going in with the slash. Chapanya Fan still has his own ultimate as well, so the Ahri also pretty tough to nail down here.
It's a game of chicken between Campania Fan and Zephyr. They're trying to be able to bait out the ultimate for each player. And also of note, keep track of how much longer Zephyr has the Rift Herald in his inventory. It's a little bit over halfway gone as well. And so we're looking to see the play. And this might be it here with Cupcake and Dent in the area. Call the Forge God.
Call the Forge God, but Ahri still had ultimate. We're going to be able to find the knockup, but Chapanya Fan still has charges. There's no way he's really in any danger there. So Call of the Forge God kind of wasted a little bit. So we're going to see Captor down here in this bottom side once again. Dragon number 2 spawning in less than a minute. Zephyr knows Chapanya Fan has no with the spin flash. Almost able to find it. The Karthus laser. Chapanya Fan no way out. First kill of the game for Cupcake, and now the quickness comes out. Loki locked up, flashing away from the Death Rocket. Able to stay alive for now, but Captor making his way down. Now the Death Sentence gets the last hit onto Wako G. Hawkster locks him down, but Zephyr able to cash in big time up here in top lane.
Yeah, huge. Finally able to get the kill on it to the nine-tailed fox. That is what you wanted. And Chapania fan just didn't respect the damage that Zephyr was able to drop in. Both summoner spells used, or I'm sorry, flash used by a Trendemir to be able to get into range. But once you don't have Spirit Rush, the game is over. Like, the jig is up. The Trendemir or the Ahri, whoever had the ultimate, was able to then pick up the kill and able to, finish the job thanks to the Requiem from Angry Cupcake. A little sad situation there, Loki Dosi being able to survive in that bottom lane fight, but now we got a Dragon Scuffle.
Oh, well, he just took a lot of damage from that Karthus Q. Cupcake has the Ludens completed. Karthus doing a lot of damage already as the smite is early from Kindred, and Karthus able to lock down that second Dragon package, flying into the back line now. Ginger looking for a little bit of damage, able to take out the Jinx. That's the carry down for Glue Eaters. Arthur Dent with the Searing Charge away, trying to stay alive. Karthus also did get taken out there. That's the battle grand entrance in. Corky flashing over the wall. The death sentence is not good enough, and Thresh will fall as well. But in the end, I believe that was a 2-for-1 fight, still in favor of Ambition. They lost the dragon.
Huge Valkyrie.
Oh, that's a spin in Loki. Oh man, he wasn't even on a... Oh, he was on a ward. You can see it down there just south of that bush in front of the blue buff. Loki, unfortunately, on vision. Zephyr taking full advantage. Cold Forge God now comes out once again, sidestepped by Ginger. And once again, Dent not going to be able to find much success with that R button.
Man, what a nice engage there, and actually making it a 2-for-2. The shutdown gold also going to Zephyr as well. He is, I think, assuredly at this point the richest person on the Rift because we've got all the.
Gonna dash in here. Dash number 2. Charm just misses. Ginger though able to land the phosphorus bomb. Needs just a little bit more damage to flash away from Bondi, but it doesn't matter. He still goes down. Another big play for Team Ambition.
Yeah, shout out to number 2 Ginger in that last dragon fight. I want to really applaud him for his use of the package because of the displacement that it provides. It got Bondi out of the Lamb's respite zone so that they were able to knock him down, and that was a huge turning point in that play. But now Zephyr picking up that shutdown on the Loki Dosi. That was an extra 600 gold in his pocket, along with all 5 turret plates and the tower gold from picking up top lane there. He is the richest man on the Rift. He's got his Gale Force. He's picking up second item. He's got the Zeal in his pocket, which has been, at least from the one Trendemir game that we saw in the LCS, they're talking about how powerful Zeal is as an early game item, and so we're seeing him capitalize on that as well. So all in all, really strong performances from both teams. This is a very even game.
Here's the spin. Hawkster, you're 3 levels down on this guy with the big sword. The Aftershock is proc, gives him a little bit of resistances. Trendemir has the Undying Rage, but he's in a 1v3 now. Zephyr maybe overstepping a little bit. Gale Force into the slash, able to get 1 kill, but the Undying Rage is worn off, and that's the Gale Force in for Loki. Last auto gets the shutdown. Very nice for the Aphelios. Number 2 Ginger going to take half his health bar from the Requiem there, and Angry Cupcake going to be able to comfortably walk in here, claim the red buff for himself. So different sides of the map traded back and forth, but Zephyr, importantly, able to make that a 1-for-1 down on the bottom side. That's a flash in. Cupcake able to get the wall down. Loki has a lot of damage, though. That's a lot of years. He's able to trade a couple people back. That's a flash off of Angry Cupcake as well. Big play coming out from the Glue Eaters, but it's pretty even in the end, I think. They're able to get the tier 1 turret as well. Jinx now on the run. Bondi doesn't really have enforcements in the area, and Chapania fans got the flank angle. Charm comes down. Jinx no way out. Bondi goes down for the 4th time this game. And the golds, it's still even. These teams just trading blow for blow across the map, Moose.
Man, that was a great teleport there from Campania fan to be able to get the flank on to Bondi, which actually results in a positive play there for Virtue Gaming Ambition. They take an extra kill advantage and they bring it back to 1,000-ish gold lead for the Glue Eaters. Now the game state is still favoring the Glue Eaters heavily because they've got the two dragons and they're looking to potentially go for the 3rd. They also got a big Rift Herald play out of that one as well. So I mean, all in all, like, they're still feeling pretty comfortable, but man, like, just some really solid plays all around from Virtue Gaming Ambition. Lokidosi able to bring 2 down with him when he gets doped upon by Cupcake, by Bondi, by Waco G, not able to really, be effective in the kill that they were able to get, and it results in another solid performance from Virtue Gaming Ambition, and they're going to try to continue to keep that pressure going.
And they certainly are. It is a Mountain Soul this game. So if the side of the Glue Eaters are able to pick that one up, it's going to feel absolutely fantastic for Arthur Dent. He is likely going to be stacking up the armor against this triple marksman comp, although Corki, of course, as well as the RE, does do some magic damage, so maybe some MR there as well. But regardless, the Ornn is going to get extremely tanky. But only if they can pick up that Mountain Soul. They can help him a lot. Waco G going in, able to find a knock-up on a Hawkster, forces the flash off of the Thresh. Dragon spawning in 10 seconds. Looking like a 5v5 down here in the bottom side river. Corki can go back to base. I'm not sure if he has the package or not, but he definitely has the teleport. So Ginger can get back out here one way or another. But they're going to have to cede river control to the Glue Eaters for now. And the Dragon is just going to get started up. Requiem comes out, trying to chunk out these Ambition members before the fight can really start, and they're just going to burn down the Dragon. That's Mountain Soul point for the Glue Eaters. Bondi now gets absolutely exploded by the Corki damage. Call the forward comes out. That's a lot of damage. Hawks are now running out of HP. Ambition looks like they're getting routed in this fight. Chapanya fan trying to do what he can, gets a kill onto the Karthus. One more Skittle lands. Ari dashing over the wall. That's a charms Zephyr right out of his spin. But Waco G with the grand entrance into the flash, into the ignite, able to complete the ace, make it a 5-for-2 in favor of the Glue Eaters.
That was so much damage by the Glue Eaters so quickly. So massive plays there. Yes, you get the package onto Bondi, and Bondi falls, but Bondi is not the target that you're really looking for in this game. 1, 5, and 3 isn't the carry team member right now. It's this Trendemir 2 or 5, 3, and 2. It's this Karthus 1, 3, and 7 that are really putting in the damage here. Love the Requiem early on to just again just continue to whittle down the health bars, the really low health bars that Team Virtue Ambition decided to draft for, and they get everything in the kitchen sink out of that one. They get themselves onto Soul Point, they get the Rift Herald, they get control into this game with a 4,000 gold advantage, and they are so happy about the game state right now. Arthur Dent about to hit level 13, so he's able to upgrade those mythic items, get those ornaments rolling, got the Trendemir with the second Rift Herald of the game, going to be able to be such a split-pushing menace. You're feeling really, really good over on the side of the Glue Eaters.
Yeah, and you're talking about split pushing for Trendemir. You look at the side of Ambition, who are we going to send to match this Trendemir? There's nobody. Anybody you send to match Trendemir just gets one shot. As, yeah, Chapanya fan, I think about to experience that firsthand. Another spin, there's the Gale Force. Oh, the Ari still had a charge, but the Requiem, the Zonia's Hourglass, nice from Chapanya fan. Able to keep himself alive, but it does cost him quite a lot. Ari on her way back to base now. And Zephyr is still comfortably pushed away down here. You can see Ornn pushing in up on that top side as well. Seems like the Glue Eater is just winning out in every lane right now. Still have that second Herald in Zephyr's back pocket as well. Watch that Trendemir, see when he decides to drop that one. Baron is up, and Trendemir is creating a lot of pressure on the bottom side right now. See Captor and Hawkster moving in, trying to get some vision, but they have to be so careful. Waco G is on the hunt. The Rakan can look for the engage here. Arthur Dent able to find a double knock-up, and Rakan with the amazing follow-up with the grand entrance. Lance Respect comes out, buys a little bit of time for Team Ambition, but the health bars are so low. They're going to get absolutely annihilated. The flash in for Arthur Dent. Captor underneath the tower just barely manages to dodge away from that Jinx rocket and keep himself alive, and Karthus did fall there as well. But another team fight win for the Eaters of Glue.
It ended up being a 3-for-1 trade in favor of Glue Eaters. They're able to pick up the kill on to number 2 Ginger as well. Zephyr able to get the 1v1, doesn't even have to use Undying Rage in that, so I'm feeling pretty comfortable there. 2 seconds until the rest of Ambition spawns, so they're able to drop the Rift Herald. He gets another tower. That's another 600 gold in Zupra's pocket. He's got 2 items. He's got the Quick Blades. He's got the Gale Force. He is feeling so happy about his position right now, and so you have to shout out Arthur Dent in that last team fight. The headbutt was huge, able to land it on to Capture and Hawkster, so that Lamb's Spite has to get used. The knockups are then able to follow through from Waco G and the Call of the Forge Gotten, so you're able to then just continue to advance the game state. You're 7,000 gold, almost 7,000 gold in the lead right now. You force Team Virtue Ambition into a really tough position. Like, this is not a team fight that you want, but you can't give up Mountain Drake.
Yeah, I mean, Tryndamere, even if they decide to fight for Mountain Drake, Tryndamere is going to take that tier 3 tower in top lane. He's already pushing away up there. Yeah, tier 2 is already gone. Dragon not alive for 30 seconds still. By the time Mountain Soul even spawns, Tryndamere is going to be at your Nexus. What do you do if your Team Ambition here? Also, Arthur Dent still deathless so far this game on the Ornn. Absolute monster performance out of the Glue Eater top laner. See Tryndamere, there it goes. The tier 3 tower is gone. Mountain Soul alive in 10 seconds now. This top lane inhibitor will certainly fall to the Tryndamere. See what he decides to do now. Zephyr doesn't really have a great way to get towards the objective. They just decide to continue pushing up there. Control over the river currently held by Team Ambition, but I don't know if they're going to be able to hold on to this. Requiem comes out. Champagne fan not in a great position here. Going to get locked down by the Flame Chompers. Dashes in, able to find the charm onto Bondi. Dashes away, able to keep himself alive for now. This Tryndamere is still not done. Zephyr still in the base, and this Dragon is a 50-50 at best. We're going in with the quickness, with a big engage. Lamb's Spit comes out once again, but I think once again, this fight is all but over. As the rockets come out, Bondi picks up a double kill. Zephyr now in a 1v2 in the base, but that means there's nobody left to have anything to say about this Mountain Soul coming through. Angry Cupcake gonna be able to secure that one. Baron should be next on the menu.
Game, set, and match for the Glue Eaters. Virtue Gaming Ambition, they get a little too ambitious here in game 2 with their composition, and it ends up resulting in disaster. Now with the Mountain Soul completed, extra armor and magic resistances along with the shield, you do not have enough damage at the moment for Ambition to be able to get through the extra resistances that the Mountain Soul is providing. Like, at this point, you're waiting to get to a 35-40 minute game so that you do get to 3-4 items on the Kindred, on the Corki, on the Aphelios, so that you can really put up a good fight here. But the mid game is where you need it to be super strong for Team Virtue Ambition. You needed to be at an even game state at the 15-20 minute mark, and unfortunately, like, that one death, Champagne fan dying, letting loose the floodgates so that Zephyr was able to pick up that massive influx of gold. He has allowed himself at this point to run the rift for the last 10 minutes, and it doesn't look like it's going to stop.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the name, right, Moose? For Team Ambition. They were a little too ambitious, but you know, I think we'd be upset if they weren't also, right?
Right.
You know, you got to be ambitious. Your Team Ambition.
And I mean, like, to be fair, like, I feel like they won game 1 so handedly that this was a little bit of a limit check to see what they can get away with. And obviously, they cannot get away with this. They can't get away with the Tryndamere. They can't get away with not building a front line. And so they need to build a front line as they move into game 3. I think, you know, at this point, you go back to the drawing board. If you're Team Ambition, you try to focus in on making sure that your game 3 is an absolute success so that you do win week 1 of Runeterra Academy Senior Class.
Yeah, unfortunately, Moose, I think we can say that the Kindred absolutely did not work either. We can see that mark on the Scuttle Crab still 26 minutes in, and Kindred still getting marks on the Crab. That is not where you want to be if you are Captor. Doesn't even have that first little upgrade yet. The Kindred is pretty helpless. Zephyr maybe in some trouble here. That last tower shot? No, he's fine. The Tryndamere survived, and that mid lane inhibitor will not. Goes down to inhibitor game now for the Glue Eaters, and Zephyr gonna look to make it 3 in short order. Team Ambition down over 10,000 gold. They have been for a few minutes now, and it seems like just a matter of time until this insane scaling split push comp from the Glue Eaters is able to close in on the Nexus. Number 2, Ginger, with the package in tow, wants to maybe look for a play here, look for some sort of engage, but they're not going to find it, and those super minions are just not going to leave those Nexus towers alone.
Nope, and so the Rift just continues to be the side of the Glue Eaters. They've continued to just starve out Ambition here, so we expect maybe they just wait for the Elder Drake, and once Elder Drake spawns, like, it's over. A package being used defensively as well, so that they're able to drop these super minions so that they aren't actually in the base. Kind of just shows me, I think, a little bit of a concession here from Ambition. Like, they realize that this is not going to be a victory, trying to delay the inevitable. Like, you need that package for team fight. Using it defensively means that you're not trying to go for a team fight at this point, and maybe just looking to defend at Nexus. Your best bet is that you're able to defend at Nexus with your 2 towers. They get the damage in. You drop Lamps or Spite, so you're able to successfully stop the deaths from happening, and then you're able to move in and potentially pick up those kills as they maybe overextend on the side of the Glue Eaters. But you have to contend with now an 11,000 gold lead and maybe the final push of this game.
Yeah, and I think the unfortunate reality for Team Ambition is those Nexus Towers are not going to save you from Rakan ult, Ornn ult, Karthus ult. It's just a little bit much at this point. The super minions in top lane continuing to push in. We're going to have to send somebody to answer that wave pretty shortly here. Although that inhibitor did respawn, so a brief reprieve in the top lane there, as the bottom lane is currently the focus for the Glue Eaters. But they're not able to target that tier 3 tower. It looks like they're just playing for the Uber buffs, Moose.
Yeah, I mean, Elder Dragon, I mean, it's a fine move. Like, don't overextend yourself. Don't overcommit. Like, that's the way that Virtue Gaming comes in. I think that maybe a little bit overcautious. Like, you delay the game a little bit longer. You allow for second item to be built for Compani fans. Zoni's Hourglass is on the table. You allow for an extra stopwatch to come through for Captor. You get almost the Infinity Edge ready to go. He actually builds a Hex Drinker so that he's able to survive a little bit longer against the magic damage that Angry Cupcake is going for.
Okay, that's a grand entrance onto the Thresh. That's going to be Hawkster flashing away, but I don't know if it's going to save him the Death Rocket. Sidestep is good for Hawkster. Still alive. But flash off the Thresh. Still control over the map for the Glue Eaters. Zepre has the Undying Rage. Gonna go in now with the Gale Force. Flash into the slash. And that's going to be a dead Corki. Loki does take half of his health bar from the Requiem, but able to finish off Zepre with the Gale Force. But that bottom lane has finally fallen. And Team Ambition sent a bunch of their members up towards the top lane to finish off Zepre, and they gave up the rest of the base. The Nexus starts down with a fire. There's the quickness. There's Wake OG going in for the engage. It's going to be Kaiser dropping the Lambs for a spit. Buying a little bit of time here before the end. Hawkstar underneath the Nexus Tower does get cut down. You can see Ornn just tanking up those shots. Not a care in the world. Arthur Dent just happy as a clam. 3-0 and 8 will finish the game on the Ornn. Bondi trying to get a little bit more before the end. Does get finished off by Captor. But this Nexus will fall, and we will go to game number 3.
And that overcautiousness and the way that Glue Eaters ended the game, like, a little anticlimactic for them. Like, they could have misplayed that, and they kind of did. Like, Zephyr gets taken out, and had this been maybe a 5k gold lead, like, that could have been a team ace. But unfortunately for Virtue Gaming Ambition, the wallet just gets dropped on them. The really massive play, super powerful, great performance coming through from Arthur Dent on this Ornn, redeeming himself, I feel, from his Gwen game 1. And now they're looking to be able to make this a sweep in the reverse direction, a 2-1 win for them in week 1. I'm super excited to see if they're going to be able to make it happen, though.
Yeah, it seems like, I don't know if it was an extremely interesting or a different direction for the side of the Glue Eaters in that second game. It seems like they actually had somewhat of a similar composition. Obviously, people were on different champions, but, you know, they had the side lane split push into, like, the long range DPS engage, and it looked a lot better for him in that second game. So now the shoe's on the other foot. Now it's Team Ambition's turn to try to adapt and try and figure out, you know, what went wrong there and how can we prevent the Glue Eaters from carrying that momentum through to a game 3 victory.
Yeah, and so I'm excited to see how it plays out. I think that because game 3 is for all the marbles here, Ambition's going to pull out all the stops, really just send this one home, not allow for a fourth quarter resurgence of the Glue Eaters, because if we're talking in basketball terms, like this was a really really great second third quarter push from the Glue Eaters to be able to get it back to an even game. But Ambition, they've got aces in the hole. They've got another really strong composition up their sleeve, and we'll have to see if they can actually finish the job. I'm really confident that they should be able to make it happen.
Was that a hint that you were just dropping, Moose? Ace in the hole? You want the Caitlyn pick? Is that what you're calling for, Moose?
I think it'd be a pretty solid pickup. I think it would.
Yeah, I think it would be not bad. But in all seriousness, what would you like to see from Team Ambition in this third champion select? What do you think the pivot needs to be? What was the key factor for the Glue Eaters in that game that really made it so that they were, because it was a pretty dominant game, right? So what was really the key factor that allowed the Glue Eaters to have such a strong performance after a tough game one like that?
A viable composition.
Calls it like it is, folks.
Yeah, there's no way. It was in my when I say limit test, I mean Virtua Gaming Ambition was just trying to see, like I said, what they were trying to be able to get away with. And they weren't able to get away with a zero frontline triple marksman composition. It just wasn't going to happen. So Glue Eaters exploit that. They take game 2. Virtua Gaming Ambition, okay, reel it back in, get themselves a really strong lineup. They should be okay. They should just be able to win game 3, and it should be just fine. They respect ban the Karthus, though. They don't allow that Requiem to be available to them, because that was, really strong performances from the Karthus, from the Trendemir there in game 1, respecting the power of it. Or game 2,
absolutely.
Pardon me.
Absolutely, Moose. The Karthus and the Trendemir did a whole lot of work in that one. I think Bondi also had a great performance on the Jinx, and we cannot forget about that Ornn either for Arthur up there in the top lane. That was also a fantastic pick for the Glue Eaters. But we are back to the same sides now that we had in game number 1. So Ambition, back to the same strategy we had in game 1. Going to first pick the Jinx here. And let's see what the response is. In game 1, the Glue Eaters went with Jhin Karma here, I believe. Or maybe it was Jhin Hecarim. I don't remember what their 1-2 was.
It was the Karma. It was Jhin Karma, and then they picked Hecarim R3.
Well, it looks like it might potentially be the Ezreal instead here.
Karma to follow. Yeah.
Ezreal Karma, of course, infamous. Very, very dominant lane there. So much poke that they can get out.
And just the power of early game Karma kind of alleviates the troubles that Ezreal has, because if the Karma is able to poke out the Jinx, it makes Ezreal's life so much easier. And depending on how he wants to build it, if he goes longsword first, he can, or if he goes tier first, there's opportunities there. But Virtua Gaming, Nautilus is hovered. Nautilus is the choice. So we're going back to game 1. Really solid, I think, performance from Hawkster in that game. Yeah. And we're going to get the Xin Zhao as well. So really quickly here, crewman, a little bit earlier of a game for Virtua Gaming Academy so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We've drafted some more frontline. Now we have the Nautilus and the Xin Zhao to frontline for our Jinx hyper carry, come into the mid and late game. And now the Hecarim looks like it's going to be locked in once again for the jungle for the Glue Eaters here. Cupcake wanting to go back to the horse for this third and final game. So very interesting call. That's definitely more of a scaling option. I expect Xin Zhao to have the advantage in the jungle just in the first few levels there.
Right. And now remember, game 1, Gwen wasn't banned out, and Gwen was allowed. Trendemir, another respect ban. Zepre really showing what he can do with it. But you brought it up earlier in the broadcast. Karma, really, really a flex pick for the Glue Eaters. Zepre could potentially play it mid lane. And so do Virtua Gaming Academy go for the Leona ban again? Do they go for maybe one of those frontline tankier supports? Do they take him out? I don't know if they do, but despite that, there are several options that were not available in game 1 that are now available here for game 2 for the Glue Eaters to pick up. Leona is on the table, and so maybe we're looking to see if the bait does get taken here. And Glue Eaters are going to go with the Corki, so they are now building a little bit more late game here.
Yeah, I mean, the Corki could still be going top lane or mid lane, so a little bit of a flex pick on that Corki. Just gonna have to wait and see where that is gonna end up. Karma, I guess, still technically up in the air as well. Clearly, Team Ambition thinks that is going bottom lane, banning away the Tryndamere and the Victor from Zepre there. Gonna be the Seraphine mid and the Gwen top. We're picking the Gwen away from Arthur. Yone was also up, but we decided to go for the Gwen instead.
Yeah, I mean, number two, Ginger, he's saying, your Gwen was not good game one. I can outplay you in it and really show you how it is done. Gragas was very importantly banned out in game one. Graves is going to be the pickup here, which I think is another solid choice for the Glue Eaters. So what this is telling me for Virtue Gaming Academy is that you want to see these lanes shine really early on, thanks to some great ganks from Capture. You want to see him find the right angles with Wind Becomes Lightning, get the Audacious Charge into the knockup, and get either the bot lane or the top lane into a winning situation. I think you sack the Seraphine lane here because you're playing for the encore. You're playing for the opportunity that he can provide to be able to get that multi-man charm, maybe get into the mid game and do well with it. I don't believe that going in for a gank against a Corki is going to be super effective. And I think you play for those side lanes. You play for the Jinx Nautilus, you play for the Gwen, and if you get ahead early on in either one of those lanes, it's so tough for Glue Eaters to respond to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the case for a lot of Enchanter lanes, right? Down there on the bottom side, the strength is being able to bully out your opponents and be able to just dominate the laning phase. But if a jungler shows up and, flips that equation on its head, then suddenly your Karma's greatest strength has been neutralized, and the bottom lane for Team Ambition could be sitting in a pretty powerful position. I definitely agree also with your point about the Corki there. Corki can be pretty difficult to gank, especially once he has that Valkyrie available. And Seraphine, as you mentioned, also very limited setup pre-6, so it could be pretty tough. I mean, Xin Zhao is good at setting up ganks, so maybe if we see Corki push pretty far up there in the mid, there could be an angle. But I really definitely want to see him go down there towards this bot lane. I think our bottom lane, Hawkster and Loki down there have had a great series so far tonight. And they have a lot of setup with that Jinx Nautilus. There's a lot of CC there to try and take out this Ezreal Karma. I think that could be a recipe for success.
Now the big thing, because I think the bottom lane, we need to really touch on this. The Ezreal being picked up instead of the Jhin. This is why I love series games. Like, the best of ones are fun, but I love best of threes and best of five because you get to see that adaptation. The big issue for Bondi in game one was the lack of mobility that Jhin had. He couldn't really follow up with the Karma because they wasn't able to really get into a good position to land those roots. And he got punished for being a little bit too aggressive based on the power that the J4 had with the Cataclysms. He had to flash away. If he didn't have flash, he was just dead. And so picking up the Ezreal gives him a little bit more of a slippery option and allows for him to be a little bit safer in that lane, but still being able to provide that damage, which on the other end of that coin, another really good adaptation from Capture, picking up the Xin Zhao rather than the J4, because at that point you had the Ezreal and you had the Hecarim played out. Both of them have options to be able to get away from the Cataclysm, which then creates less of an opportunity for that Cataclysm to be super impactful. And so instead picks up the Xin Zhao, which is going to be fine with not having that opportunity to be able to lock everyone down. And now Crescent Guard gets so much more value out of it because you're able to block Ezreal Qs. You're able to block Graves damage as well. Like, there's so much more value that you get out of the Xin Zhao here. Really solid pickup.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely could look pretty good for Capture here this game. Going to be able to offer some frontline in a similar way that the J4, of course, is able to do. But I think that's important to note considering how things went in that second game there. But I think it's going to look pretty good for Capture here. Like you said, the Crescent Guard should be getting a lot of value against this 4-ranged composition. on the side of the Glue Eaters. I wonder what build Captor is going to go for on the Xin Zhao. I know you mentioned, Moose, that you also are a Xin Zhao player. What's your favorite build? What do you think?
I dabble. I dabble. I wouldn't say that I'm like good, but Gore Drinker first. I think you get so much value out of it if you're able to go in and you're able to find it. I mean, Strybreaker does have its merits, but with the changes to Asterix Gauge, second item is much more open. Like, if you want to play more bruisery, which I think you have the option to go for, maybe a little bit more early game and the power that you can provide with it, go for that Black Cleaver. But if you want to play a little bit more defensively, the Death Dance or even the Maul Malmortius could be a strong pickup here, because you're able to deny the magic damage from the Corki, the Karma, and even some magic damage from the Ezreal as well. So I'm excited to see how it plays out. Does look like we are fairly close to getting into the game. Any just predictions on who's going to win this one here?
Well, Moose, something that I actually just picked up is we still have a triple marksman comp in this game. But this time it's the Glue Eaters with the Graves, Corki, Ezreal. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that triple marksman is going to continue to not work. And we're going to see Team Ambition take it home here in Game 3.
Well, I mean, that's the goal. We want to see Virtue Gaming Ambition be able to win Week 1 in Runeterra Academy Senior Class. We got about a minute 30 until the delay is over. We're going to take a quick break before we jump into this one. We'll be right back, folks.
Don't go anywhere.
So hold our heads up high and beat the drums to what we love. Risk the fall, oh, we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we defy. A soul ray of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last strike. Hearing voices from afar, join the madness when the curtain falls. Risk it all, hold nothing back. Seize the day, we must attack. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we defy. A soul ray of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the Can we bring to fall the giants? 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 We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we defy. A soul ray of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the
Hello again, everyone. We have some unfortunate news. Tragedy has struck, and the League client has once again failed us all. The Spectator is currently not functional, so unfortunately, we are not going to be able to view the third and final game of the match tonight. We will be tweeting about the results of that match later on, but very unfortunate that we can't get that one on the stream for you guys.
Yeah, it's super rough. I would really love to be able to, like, it would be great to be able to cast game 3. It looked like it was going to be a super fun matchup. It looked so
like a
good.
Stomp, and then a stomp the other way, and we had the triple AD comp again versus the Team Ambition coming back with.
I know it's a little rough to see, but you know what? At the end of the day, I have all the faith that our boys, Virtue Gaming Ambition, will be able to
course.
take the win and will secure themselves a week 1 victory against their opponents, the Glue Eaters. We'll hopefully be able to get results of that matchup as quickly as possible. But yeah, it's rough. Like, I'm checking on Twitter right now. I had a couple of messages saying, hey, the spectator client is down. Benjamin's, who is our Lord and Savior, has tried everything under the sun to try to fix it. And there's nothing that we can do.
Yeah, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
I mean, Moose, we can at least talk about the League of Legends a little bit that we were able to spectate tonight. For the side of Team Ambition, I think smart channel points on them for a Game 3 victory. But in terms of what we already saw, who do you think was your standout player? Who do you think is going to be the difference maker in that third game, if you had to guess?
Probably number 2, Ginger. Like, playing as the Gwen. I saw him play last week as the Gwen, and he just annihilated. Was able to get such a split pushing power that I expect him to have that control and should be able to do it again. But I can't count out Capture as well. Like, Capture, I think, had really solid play as the J4, and now he's playing something similar up against a similar composition in the Hecarim Karma over by the Glue Eaters. So I expect him to have another good game as well. But I mean, all in all, it should be another stomp for Virtual Gaming Ambition. They're playing a composition that can scale into the late game pretty well and should have a lot of power throughout, even as the early game, even as quickly as the early game, because do have the Xin Zhao. And if they're able to get if they're able to get those side lanes going, it should just be an easy GG for them. Yeah,
absolutely. I think that's the hope. That's the belief. But we will be letting you guys know where the chips all fell on that one a little bit later on, as soon as we do get those results. But yeah, I think that's gonna just about do it for the stream tonight. Moose, you got any shout outs, any last words for chat here?
Yeah, I mean, hey guys, thank you guys all so much for stopping by. If you guys have not done so, and you have to do it. Follow Virtue Gaming Live. It's the Twitch channel that you are watching these games on. They are fantastic. Shout out to Benjamin's, our observer, our producer, the one in our ear, making sure that everything is good. Without him, we would be lost and aimless in the wind, and we could never make things happen. He's not perfect. He obviously couldn't get us to spectate this game, but you know what?
He's only human.
A solid, 95% accurate in what he's been able to do here in today's broadcast. If you guys enjoyed the content that you guys are able to get from Crewman or myself, you guys can follow us on Twitter. Myself at Moosecaster. Crewman, what is your Twitter?
I am CSNOMS44. CSNOMS44. That's me.
There you go. Hey, and that's all that you'd ask. If we can get any sort of follows or any sort of support from the community, that would be greatly appreciated. But other than that, Virtue Gaming, best of luck to you guys. I hope that you're able to take it out and get yourself into a week 1 win.
Yeah, it was my first time here on the cast here at twitch.tv/Virtue Gaming Live. I had a great time. Thank you guys very much for having me. Had a wonderful time casting with you as well, Mr. Moose. So it was a good time while it lasted. But that is going to do it from us. So from the entire production team here at Virtue Gaming, thank you all so very much for watching. We love you guys very much. Have a great night.